Have you had dead relatives visit you in dreams? Because I have. Hey guys, I'm Laura and I make videos that will awaken your awareness. So I wanted to make this video to share these experiences I had when, like after your relatives pass and then they visit you in a dream. This is a legit thing. It's happened to me a couple of times and it was just an amazing thing to experience, especially when it helps you with the grieving process, right? So I'm going to start with the hardest death that I've experienced and had to go through, process, grieve through, and accept. So this was my cousin. My cousin was 6 months older than me. So we grew up. We were born 6 months apart. Grew up together. Our mums were sisters. We went to the same primary school. We were half the time we're in the same class. So we were very close throughout my childhood. When we weren't at school, we would be off on having family holidays or family gatherings or whatever. But when we got to the high school age, he went to a different high school, and that when we went to different schools, you sort of drift apart a wee bit, don't see each other as much as you used to. And then when we were about 15, his parents divorced. So when that happened, we didn't see him as much because half the time we're at family things, he's not there because he's off with his dad and dad's side of the family. So during the teenage years, we sort of didn't have as much to do with each other, which was kind of sad, but we still saw each other here and there. He even came out to my high school for a visit because he was dating someone from my high school, and I remember we were hanging out together, which was pretty cool. But unfortunately, he had an accident, and this was when we were 19. He was away with his friends having a great time, a holidaying, and they were riding on your ATVs, your four-wheelers, and unfortunately he was going too fast for a bend, a corner, and he didn't make the turn. Instead, he kind of flew off a bank that had a 20-meter drop, and he ended up landing on his head. So the helicopter came to pick him up and take him to the hospital. He was on life support in ICU, but unfortunately there was too much bleeding on the brain and they had to pull the plug, and he passed away 3 days before his 20th birthday. Now this was one of the hardest deaths I've ever had to go through, being someone that you grew up with, you're so close with, and it's something that's just so unexpected, being an accident, And so it was really hard for me to sort of process it and come to terms with it. So I was every night I'd be sleeping, I'd constantly dreaming about him, right? Now there's this one specific part I need to point out. When I saw him at the hospital, I hadn't seen him for a year. We were sort of, kind of off on our own journeys, doing whatever we were doing. I was studying a course and he was off doing his own thing. So we didn't see each other for a good year, right? And when I saw him in the hospital, I had no idea he grew his hair out and he had dreads. So that was the first time I ever seen him with dreads. Normally he always had shorter hair, spiked or sort of a messy spiked hairstyle or whatever. And so after he died, the dreams I was having, it was just dreams of what he was like when we were younger, his hair and everything, right? And it was just dreams where basically it's he's always on my mind because of what's happened, and I'm struggling, I'm trying to process it, so he's just constantly, the memories are just turning up in the dreams. And then there was this one dream in particular, and I know for a fact, when it's a dead relative visiting you in a dream, you just know. You know within you that it wasn't just a made-up dream by your subconscious mind. You know that it was actually them visiting you. Now, there was two parts to this dream. So the first part was in the dream, at the time I was studying a course, right? So in the dream, I was walking back from my course, which was right in the middle of the city where it's really busy. I used to walk up the main street to the bus exchange. So in the dream, that's what I was doing. I was walking back from course with my backpack on, and I always would come up to this intersection You know how you have your walking man, so you could walk across, like it'd be red or green. Whenever it got to green on this particular intersection, you could go either way. Like you could go this way, or diagonally. Like you can go like all streets stop, and you can go either way you want to go. So I'd always go diagonally. And normally I'm an impatient person, right? So I always like see the green man. I'm like power walking, trying to make it before it goes red. So that's what was happening in the dream. I'm like power walking, trying to make it, and then it goes red, and I was like, oh damn, and I'd stand there and wait. And then I heard this voice behind me, and he goes, it was my cousin, right? He's standing there, and he goes, I can get you across. And I turned around, and I saw him, and then as he's standing there, he was standing there with his dreads, right? This was the only dream where he had his dreads in it. All the other dreams was like how his hair used to be, how I remembered his hair. So that was one clue that made me think, like realize like this is actually him visiting me. And even in the dream, it felt so real that like him dying felt like that was the dream, right? So I even turned around and I said, I knew it. Like I knew you weren't dead. Like I was just so happy to see him. And so he told me he could get me across the intersection. This was just real bizarre, right? So he puts his arm around me and I had my arm around him, and he told me to put my hand up like this. And he put his hand up as well. So we're both standing there with our hands up like this, and the traffic just froze. Like everything froze. All the cars had stopped. And he walked me through the intersection to the other side. And then I remember saying to him, because I was just so happy to see him, and I'm like, you know, we need to catch up, like hang out sort of thing. It's been ages. And, you know, as you do, and then like we hugged, and then we sort of like walked off in our like own directions. That was the first part of the dream, right? Then the second part of the dream, it was sort of like symbolic, and it was a message he was sending me, and I got like I understood the message, and this is what really helped me with the grieving process and letting go. So in the dream, like when we was kids, we used to like run and frolic over these grass hills that was at my nana and pop's house. And in the dream, it was like me and my older brother and my cousin used to play a lot together, and so we used to always be running and frolicking over these grass hills. I was the younger one, right? So normally I'd be the one in the back behind running, and they'd be in front of me. But in the dream, I was the one in front, like which is like what wasn't usual, you know. So I'm the one that's running in the front over the grass hills, and like they're behind me, like my cousin and my brother. And I'm like running, and I run over the last hill, and I stop, and I turn around, and as I turned around, it was just like this big cliff. And I remember standing there thinking, like, what the heck, where did they go? Like, how do I get back? Like, and then I realized, like, I can't go back that way, I have to turn around and walk this way. And so the message I received was that basically I had to continue on in life, and like sort of leave him behind, like let it go and carry on with my life. And so that was such an amazing dream to have. I know it was him visiting me and helping me with the grieving process, because it was a really hard thing to like, you know, come to terms with. But after I had that dream, that's when I was able to accept it, be okay with it, and then carry on in life. And I stopped having dreams about him, like how like I was just constantly dreaming and I couldn't stop, you know. But after that dream, it's like that was it. Like I basically had accepted what happened, and I think he just wanted to send me that message. So that was my first experience with a dead relative visiting you in a dream, and it was like I say, like you wake up, you just know that it was them. You just know that they visited you. And yeah, so the second time this happened to me was with my granddad, my mum's dad. So at the time, like the last time I actually saw my granddad before he died, it wasn't really a good situation. So I actually went to the hospital to visit my nana, which was my dad's mum. And like during this time in my life, I was having a really hard time. I was like homeless, starved, like in rock bottom, basically, depressed. And my nana was sick with cancer, so I went to the hospital to see her. I didn't realize that she had already died. So I went to the hospital trying to visit her and found out, yeah, no, she's not here. She's gone. And I was like, what? So, you know, I was quite upset that I had missed out on seeing her before she died. So I left the hospital, like, not really in a good mood, you know. And then I saw my mum, my nana, and my pops, that's my mum and her parents, standing outside the hospital, which was really weird because it's not really often I'd see them there, or people you know there like that, but they just happened to be standing there in the car park, and I was like, I was walking in that direction anyways, and I was like, oh, and then I was on bad terms with my mum back then. We weren't on good terms at all. I was kicked out of home and having a hard time. And I remember, like, I walked up to them, and so this was the last time I saw my pop. Like, I was already upset that I was upset with my mum. I was upset that I missed out on seeing my nana before she had passed. And then I was just in an annoyed mood, and then I don't know what I said to my mum, but I probably said something like being angry with her, right, in front of my nana and my pop, and then I walked away. And that was the last time I ever saw my granddad before he died. I didn't get a chance to, you know, like, because again, I was just having a hard time in life myself, and I didn't get a chance to really like catch up with him before he passed either. So that was a bit sad, but I know he visited me in a dream, and I know what the message was. But in this one, I freaked out. So in the dream, I was like in my bedroom back at my mum's house when I used to live there, and I opened my bedroom door my bedroom was at the end of the hallway, right? So I was standing at the end of the hallway, I open the door, and I go to walk down the hallway, and at the other end of the hallway, like the laundry was just in around the corner, and my granddad stepped out from the laundry, right? And I freaked out because I knew in this dream, like, he was dead and it was a ghost, and I kind of get freaked out with ghosts. Like, I find ghosts interesting, but at the same time, I get very creeped out really easily. And so in the dream, I knew he was like a ghost, and he stepped out, and then the message he was trying to say to me is like, I need to sort this out with my mum. He was trying to tell me, like, you need to sort your shit out with your mum. But instead of like I just reacted by freaking out, like, oh my god, because I knew it was like he had died. So I was like, that's a ghost. And I kind of ran back in the room and slammed the door, and he's going, no, it's okay, because he knew I was freaking out. But I knew it was him visiting me, because the last time he saw me was, you know, he could tell that obviously I'm upset with my mum, we're clashing, we're not getting along, and then that's obviously something he wanted, because him and my mum were quite close. I feel like my mum's like his favourite child out of all of his kids, because my mum's sister's let's just say a bit more difficult than my mum. My mum used to help her dad with his business and everything like that, so they just seemed to be closer. And yeah, and so his message for me was, you know, he wanted me to sort stuff out with my mum. He'll be happy to know to this day that we now do get along really well, and my mum knows that he's still around. She like smells him from time to time and things like that, because she did have a close relationship with him. But yeah, that was his message for me, was just wanting to he wanted me and mum to sort our stuff out. And then I'm going to share another experience, but this wasn't a dream, but this was something to this day I still have no answer for. So this was just after my nana died, my mum's mum, right? So, it's just so bizarre. So it was like within like a few days to a week of my nana dying, sort of thing. I had a sock that had gone missing for a month, right? And you put it down to the washing machine eating it or something. Sometimes your socks just go missing. And I had, these were like your thick, woolly, thermal socks, and I had like 3 pairs of the same colour. So I realised my sock was missing. I put the spare one in a drawer in case of one of my other ones went missing or got a hole in it. Kept it as a spare, and that sock had been missing for a good month. So I just gave up on it. And no, like, I just to this day still can't figure out how this happened. I feel like it was my nana who found my sock, because I woke up one morning and like I had a headboard, a wooden headboard on my bed, and I woke up and I saw my sock hanging on the headboard. I was like, what the heck? Is that my spare sock? Is that my missing sock? Like, you know what I mean? Like, where did that come from? And I checked my drawer and I checked my socks. I was like, it is the missing sock. It's the sock that's been missing for a month. I was like, how did it get there? Who put it there? So I asked the person I was living with, who I was flatting with, I was like, did you find my sock and put it on the headboard? And she's like, no. If I would have done that, I would have put it on like the foot end of the bed, because that's the closest to the bedroom door. And it is a strange place to put a sock, like just to hang it over the headboard, right? So to this day, I put it down to my nana finding the sock, because I have no explanation for how the sock got there and hanging on my headboard like that. It's just so weird. And also at the same time, my flatmate had a stereo, and the stereo kept randomly turning itself on. It done it when I was there at home by myself, and I literally freaked out and ran out of the house because I get a little bit creeped out with ghosts. Like, I find them interesting and intriguing, but I get creeped out by them at the same time. So I like bolted out of the house because I was like, the stereo kept turning itself on, and I was like, that might be my nana as well, because we didn't really know what was going on. So yeah, I do believe that that, like, you know, dead relatives could visit you in dreams, or even like find your missing socks. I remember even at my nana's funeral, it was really bizarre because people were like standing up talking into the mic, right, at a funeral, and then when my uncle, my nana's son, was standing up talking, the microphone arms swung around randomly, and everyone's just sort of stopped and like, whoa. And he's like, did she do that? Like, and then the funeral director person like just pulls the mic back around so he can carry on talking, and then it just swung around again. But it didn't do that when everyone else was up there talking beforehand, you know what I mean? It was just like is that Nana? Like, that's a bit weird. So yeah, I do definitely think that they are around after they pass, or, you know, they can visit you in dreams, especially if you're having trouble like dealing with their death and things like that. They can, you know, sort of help you from the spirit side of things. So I just wanted to make this video and share my stories, because yeah, it's just a cool thing to be able to experience, and I believe that, you know, there's definitely like life after death. Death isn't the end at all. Death's just the start of a new beginning. So yeah, I hope you like this video. Feel free to give it a like or a comment, and if you like this sort of content, then subscribe and hit the bell notification, because I make daily videos on my channel. So I hope you stick around. I hope I see you on the next video. Have an awesome day, guys. Peace.